And we're live.
Excuse me, but hola Madridistas, welcome to the Alaves preview for our game on Sunday. Is what I would have, loved to say before, the happenings of the week. It's been one of the worst weeks in recent times, Farooq. I don't know if you agree. And last month, it was actually Atletico's turn to lose their whole season in the span of a week and a half. I guess this week it was ours. I don't know how else to spin this story. I tried to look at any positives from the last week, but couldn't find anything. But yeah, to break all of this down and more, forgive us if this is not a real in-depth preview into Alaves, but we gotta dissect. We gotta take a step back and let's talk about the happenings of last week. Don't you agree, Farooq?
I agree. I mean, the point is, I don't think there's any Real Madrid fan alive on earth right now who is actually looking forward to an Alaves preview. Yeah, of course, the game is an important game in the context of what happened last week against Valencia, but the whole shambolic performance that happened against Arsenal. I don't even call it a performance because for you to perform something, you need to attempt to do something, right? So, there's an attempt to make something happen, then you perform something. But it's quite interesting that yeah, it's just, and the sad thing is, actually, as we were talking with Sunaid actually afterwards, this is a very unspectacular Arsenal team. You can take the 4-0 against, what's it called? Against Man City 2 years ago. 2018 Ajax, they were playing out of their scheme. It's like they're having a world-class season. You can take that. The elimination by Chelsea. Chelsea eventually won the title. They won the UCL that thing that they eliminated us. So like there are things that you can take, but then you look at the game against Arsenal and you feel like, what? Like, what is this?
What is
Because I
this
just
part,
don't.
part of that? Like, I think we have to I have to point out something like every single Real Madrid content creator out there, every single fan out there, all of us consider Arsenal as we can do this. It's gonna be tough, but we're gonna do this. It's gonna be easy. But now we're almost at the point of no return.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's man. I don't know, man. For me, I've always said this. Like for me, if I go out fighting, I'm fine with that because the point is we cannot always win. We have to accept this, even though we have won the Champions League twice in the last 3 years. Whatever the 15 times going for the 16th, this and that. So all of this is fine. We cannot always win. We agree with that, but losing the way we lost is crazy. Okay, yeah, we will talk about the fact that like we lost to free kicks. Like there is nothing you can do against what. I don't know if you know that Rice has never scored a free kick in his life, and he scored two in the space of 10 minutes.
Like some of the best freaks I've seen in the last 10 years.
I think for me, I can't remember even a better free kick that I watched in the game. I can't remember. Maybe they've been or not, but I can't remember. And second one was crazy. The first one was mad.
Yeah.
It's like how do you stop this? And it's just crazy. The goal by Mikel Merino, okay, he had a really good movement. He also, you look at this and you feel like it's like, moment of divine intervention and all that. But then you go forward and you look at, okay, where was Jude? Where was Fede? These are our two players that we never, ever get, below a 7.6.5 from.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me in that game, like other than Kamavinga, of course, Thibaut Courtois was absolutely our man of the match from the Real Madrid team. There was no better player. But then you look at that and you feel like even our most reliable performance were not there. They were hiding, bro. Not even talk of the guys that, yeah, they play just, part-time Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Kylian Mbappe. They're part-time ballers. We know this. But their part-time is better than 99% of the full-time performance. We know
Yeah.
that. But they didn't even show for the part-time.
I mean, I don't know if it's fair to call them part-time, man. Like, especially games like these guys actually play out of their skin. They come back to defend. We saw none of that against in the Arsenal game. I just can't figure out why.
I was speaking to someone and he was like, is this how Real Madrid plays? Like an Arsenal fan, he was my friend, and he was like, is this how you guys play? Like, it's like you guys are playing with two or three players out of the equation. Like, it's like you're playing with 8 out of 11 players, although you have 11 people on the pitch. He was like, is this how you usually play? And I was like, yeah, this is normal for like Vinicius, Kylian Mbappe.
This
They
is
don't know.
normal, Farouk, in like La Liga games. Like this team, like we expected them to, change things up in the UCL. We expected Mbappe to drop in deep, play the number 8 sometimes. It didn't happen.
That's true, actually. I think maybe what happened was because, like, the City game at Etihad, I think that was one of the best team performances we had this season. Like, there was a cohesion, there was a, how should I say, there was a team performance, there was a unit, there was a chemistry that was there, like from the pressing to the defending, winning the ball by the transitions, all of that was there. So I kind of feel like maybe the players also got complacent as well because, like, I, for my one myself, like, I never thought Arsenal would be a threat. Honestly, I knew that it would be a difficult game, but I did
Yeah.
not know that to this level.
Yeah, I mean, these players have played against Mikel Merino. They might have probably thought, hey, it's just Mikel Merino. We can defend the hell out of this guy.
Exactly. Exactly. It was absolutely crazy, man. I don't even know what to say, bro. Like, it was a game that, I mean, those situations, as they say, like, you don't know what hits you until it's past you or some shit like that. It's just like you come out of this game and, like, yeah, you're 3-0 down.
That's it.
Crazy, man, honestly. And to put this into perspective now, across our last 4 games, we've averaged considered 3 goals per game. 3 goals per game average. And I was just reading actually yesterday that we have considered 16 goals more than we have at the whole of last season. 16
Already.
goals more
We have
than the whole of
10
last
games
season.
left to play.
We have nine La Liga
11 games
games
left to
left.
play.
Exactly. We have
Yeah,
at least 11 games left to play.
at
9 in the
least.
league, 1 Copa del Rey final, and 1 the second leg. At least we have 11 games left to play. And we've conceded
Crazy.
16 more than last year. And I can't remember the number, but also we've scored less than last year.
There you go. I mean, this shouldn't have been a surprise. Okay. So considering the performances that we've seen against any big team this season, right? This shouldn't have come as a surprise to us. But what caught me off guard this time was the fact that we improved against Man City. We had decent games against bigger opposition later on, and then all of that effort just gone to nothing. And that is what surprised me, and that's what saddens me. But yeah,
I
I
get what
mean,
you're saying, man. I get what you're saying, but honestly, like, I don't know. I just feel like if we lose out to Arsenal, but then, like, what happens, when Arsenal plays, I don't know, Barcelona, or when Arsenal plays Inter Milan, as we've seen already this season, like, they already lost to Inter Milan this season, or rather, sorry, they drew to Inter Milan this season. So, yeah, maybe even on our side of the draw, like, where there is Paris and Aston Villa, we don't know. Like, I think Arsenal have not defeated Aston Villa this season or something like that. So, it's looking quite interesting. But again, I go back to the fact that, you look at this game and, like, it's different to the games that we've had, like, in the past where, like, we've had really bad games and you were knocked out. You understood that, oh wow, this is just, there is nothing you can do about this. But the game against Arsenal, they just don't have that feeling. It just had a
yeah.
feeling of lack of effort. It just had a vibe of, like, players, arrogant players. As I said, maybe they also felt like I did, like, too relaxed. Let's not say confident, but like too relaxed because you feel like, okay, it's a difficult game, but you have more than enough for us. And
Yeah,
again,
I mean, Farooq, can I ask you this? Like, let's say
hmm,
those 2 goals didn't go in, those 3 goals didn't go in. Do you think they would have come away from this tie happy?
I
Thibaut
agree.
had,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, okay, Thibaut has had to do a lot of heroics. There were blocks on the line, but these are performances that we are used to seeing in the UCL, right? In years before, and we've always walked out of those ties happier. So maybe it's just these fine margins that are hurting us, just coming in at it from another angle.
Yeah, that I agree with you actually because, like, we're a team that has always lived on the edge, right? We've always lived on that fine margin, and most of the time, at least since I think I would say 2014, 2013, like those fine margins have been in our favor a lot of the times. Since we won the first one at least the ninth one in 2014, which was my first one. So since we won that one, the fine margins have always been in our favor. The little things, they always gone here or there. And today, or rather on Tuesday, they went against us. Everything that could go against us, he literally went against us. And I said, like, the players they didn't help us well. And of course, the coaching staff has to, take a lot of responsibility here. Like, honestly, like, defense is not just about personnel; it's also about structure. When there is no structure, there is no defense. There are a
Yeah.
lot of teams that defend really well. It's not because they have better players; it's because they have a really good structure. You understand? So structure is something that matters, and we literally do not have any structure when it comes to our team. So, which is really, really unfortunate when you look at the number of players that we have. And for me, I would never wish, like, we lose so that Carlo gets sacked. No, I will. We win the Champions League. Carlo stays, man. That's fine. Let's keep going. Let's keep rolling. It's unfortunate, but this is, we keep winning. So that's the thing. But the point is, I can understand when people will say, like, after watching the Arsenal game, that, okay, at least Carlo leaves, Sam. Well, does Carlo leave? We saw the 4-0 at Etihad, but Carlo stayed, bro.
He did.
So, like, what does it look like? And we're not actually sure what's going to happen with Xabi Alonso or not. Like, and he's the guy who they're talking to right now. When you look on the market and who's left, are you going to bring Jurgen Klopp to Real Madrid? Jurgen Klopp will not join Real Madrid even if Real Madrid offers him the job. This is just one thing. So,
Yeah.
Then you look at who are the people left. You go to play people like Allegri? Definitely not. You understand, right? I mean, the point is, Inzaghi is the
There are a
king.
lot of options, but none of them are free. Like none of them are available.
Of course, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. When you go to coaches, there are coaches there, but who's going to leave the job and come to Real Madrid? Inzaghi has an empire there at Inter Milan. He has a structure that, for some reason, seems infallible. It doesn't matter who is playing for Inzaghi at Inter; they always play the same way. It does not matter who it is.
Yeah.
This is the structure I'm talking about. Like, it's not about the players that you have, but it's about the fact that you build a structure and everyone knows their duties so well that even when you replace one with another, there is the change is not significant. But for us at Real Madrid, when you look at it, like, we have significant gap between first and second choices.
That's right.
Look at the front three and look at their subs. Absolutely, the gap there is the end night. You look at the defenders. Like, I mean, Lucas Vasquez is feeling for Carval. Carval is a Ballon d'Or contender. You understand? You see the gap day and night. So again, the squad has been poorly constructed, true, valid. Like, the administration has taken a lot of responsibility, true, valid. But there's a reason why Carlo Ancelotti is the coach here. One of the primary reasons is because he's a yes man. He's always going to figure a way. He's always going to find a way. But the thing we have seen this.
I mean, this is okay. So how can we blame Carlo, Farooq? Like, this has been a feature of Carlo forever and ever, ever since he started managing this team, especially in recent times. We have no structure. We've always depended on the players forming out of their skin to save our asses. And yeah, I think it's just. Do you think this is close to an end of a cycle? Maybe can he even get more out of these players anymore? Because is it a lack of motivation?
I mean, the point is, when you talk about the end of a cycle, look at the age of the players. Man. They're very young, bro. Everyone here is still, still has another gear to hit.
Yeah,
you understand? Okay, at least the attackers. But when you look at defenders, yeah, we need to, like, have a changing guard with the defense. But when you look at the midfielders and the attackers, everyone has another level to hit. You understand? This is why you feel like, okay, for how long can this continue? And my fear is this: like, when these players get so comfortable in this system that Carlo has, when the coach is eventually changed, there's going to be revolts.
Can you imagine like Vinny being asked to defend overlap as a left back?
Exactly. This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You understand? So unless you're getting a coach that has the name of the Jurgen Klopp, the Zinedine Zidane, the Pep Guardiolas to come to these guys, it will be difficult, man. I think even for a coach like Xabi Alonso, it will be difficult.
Yeah.
It will be difficult. Because Carlo literally brought the best out of him. He gave Rodrigo his spot on the team and all that, So Jude came and saw what Carlo is doing. So when you see those guys and what they got used to as with Carlo Ancelotti, when you change the coach later on, not now, of course, I'm saying after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when these players are in their pump, they're at their very peak. They're like 27, 28, 26. They're not kids anymore. They're like at their pump. They're at the peak of their career. So, like, how would you ask them now to change the way they're playing? When they'd be like, bro, see all what we have won. We have won playing like this. What do you mean? You don't need to play like that to win.
Yeah, there are no easy solutions. It's not just like, okay, just chuck Carlo and then we're going to suddenly start playing, improving massively. This squad is so complicated that no normal coach can take it out. Yeah.
I don't think, I think honestly, like, with a bit of work, but that's also issue that it's here that we have to be careful because, like, at Real Madrid, we do not allow for coaches to build stuff.
Arteta, imagine if Arteta, just walked into the Real Madrid team and then said, "Hey, we have to do this." He'll get the sack within 4 months after a couple of losses.
Players are gonna laugh and exit the training. He's gonna train with the academy players, bro.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, I just feel like also, like, this is something that either, like, we find a coach that's similar to what Zidane was doing, similar to what Carlo was doing in his first teams, that's able to, like, bring these players together and like let them buy into a team effort, and you go from there. Other than that, like I think and now we're seeing a lot of coaches that are going towards building a style of play, a pattern of play. We saw with Arteta, Xabi Alonso, of course Jurgen
Exactly.
Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Antonio Conte, Inzaghi, those guys before them. But like when you talk about like Antonio Raiola at Bournemouth as well, these young coaches, you see that okay, they take time to do stuff. But then on the other hand, Hansi Flick at Barcelona, bro, the man came in preseason. You see what he wanted the boys to do.
Yeah, it
In
was clear.
preseason, you saw what Barcelona was trying to do. Clear as daylight. The highline was there. They were playing like madmen. Everyone was ridiculing Barcelona. Oh, the highline, the highline. I don't know if you remember, there was a stretch where they had not won in 6 games, where we like overtook them in the league and gave them the 8 point gap. Although, of course, they had one game in hand even at that
Yeah,
point,
we were
and
laughing at
stuff like
them.
that. We were laughing at them. It's naivety and everything. But what, again, they're back at the top.
Yeah,
Their heads on favorites to win everything right now. In the
absolutely.
space of just he came and he's done this. He came. There was no adaptation, no philosophy, what's it called? Is it project manager, whatever they call it? Like there is nothing.
Yeah,
So this is the thing that it is possible. You just need to find the right person. And let's not forget, Hansi Flick is a nobody. He's won the treble with the Bayern Munich as well. So that's something that's important. Hansi Flick is a treble winning coach. He's
yeah.
not a nobody. So it is, but I do get what you're saying about the end of a cycle. And I do believe that this cycle has ended a long time ago with Carlo Ancelotti. I just feel like, okay, the story of the vibes and this and that, till what point?
Yeah.
Till what point? Because a lot of things have worked a lot of teams, as we said, like we play on a very fine and thin margin. A lot of things has fallen in our favor in the past. But honestly, yeah, I mean, we were talking just before we went live. When you look at the frontier of Vinicius, Kylian Mbappe, and Rodrigo, in my opinion, on paper, they are better than Lewandowski, Yamal, and Rafinha.
Yep.
Yeah, we know they played Borussia Dortmund, but bro, those guys were looking like MSN and BBC combined into one, bro.
Yep.
So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
28-year-old
It's
Lewandowski giving those touches, he's still so sharp, and he looked like a shadow of himself in the last 2 years.
exact.
Somehow this man comes
Especially
through
the
again.
last year. Especially the last year, man.
Yeah,
Especially the last year, Lewandowski was. I think everyone thought Lewandowski was done, man.
he was finished, and he came back from the
Everyone
grave.
took exactly. Rafinha, literally, how much Barcelona went after Nico Williams to pair him with Thierry because they had totally lost belief in Rafinha.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, a coach comes in a space of time. He has them playing in a certain way, and it's not like he's playing, vibes football. No, he's playing with a clear pattern of play. Since preseason, you could see what Hansi Flick was trying to do with Barcelona.
Yeah.
But for us, there is nothing. There is no plan. We just go there and we do. Yeah, if the players show up, they show up. If they don't show up, that's just it.
Always been that way, Farooq, in the last 2 years. It's just that, we've been luckier these sort of games before. Right now, it didn't go our way.
Yeah, man, absolutely crazy, man. Let's take some comments, Jacob, before we go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we have Ashik in the chat, and he mentions that Alaba injured, but who knows with Carlo, he'll play Alaba and Vasquez as fullbacks anyways. I'm surprised he didn't put Militao in for Asensio. Militao can work now, so he should be good enough for Carlo, he was saying. And he's saying, like it or not, Barcelona is on course for their third treble while we're still searching for our first while getting embarrassed by everyone. Thank you, Carlo. And he's saying we are going to lose Sunday. Watch, LOL. I don't know,
Those
man.
are
I mean, yeah.
And
It's-
so 3 trebles has it been done in history before?
I don't think so, bro. I don't think anyone has done 3 trebles. I
I
think
think
Barcelona are the
Bayern
only
has done it a couple of times. Yeah.
exactly. I think Barcelona and Bayern are the only teams that have 2 trebles, actually.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite interesting, how that pans out. But yeah, 3 trebles is going to be absolutely peak. And that's the thing, like Alaves is currently I think 17th. Yeah, no, I think Alaves is currently 16th in the league, right? So the point now becomes this: as we mentioned with Valencia the week before, we actually as expected, to be a smooth sailing for Real Madrid, and then what happened. So I don't know, like what's your expectation going into the game against Alaves?
I have zero expectations, man. Like every single preview that we've expected our team to go out and have a showing, take it easy, and then give the fans something to hope and pray for. Uh, this team hasn't shown up this season at all, and nothing has gone as how we expect things to go in these previews. So I have no hopes, and that's not to say that I think we will win this game. It's just that I don't have any expectation that we will win the game. I just think that we might win.
Yeah, I mean, what Real Madrid and Carlo Ancelotti does to a man, bro. It's Real Madrid against Alaves or rather Alaves against Real Madrid. I do think we get the job done, and I do
Yeah.
think we see heavy rotation from Carlo in this game. I mean, heavy, significant rotation. I mean, the Arda Güller's and Hendricks kind of rotation in this game. And but I don't know,
Like,
like, would you?
yeah. I was
Yeah,
about to ask you, would they have actually helped in this game? Like, just them putting them in the game? A lot of fans were asking, hey, where is Hendrik? Where is Arda? Like, anyways, nothing was working out for that front three. Why couldn't he put these guys in?
I totally agree. And that's the thing I said at the post match as well. Like, why on earth are we 3 goals down and subbing Lucas Vasquez in, Frank Garcia in, bro? Tranquilo. Like, what are you talking about, bro? We're trying to win a game and you're subbing in Lucas Vasquez and Frank Garcia. Come on.
I mean,
I
I
mean,
understand the Lucas Vasquez thing. I mean, Valverde was able to push up a bit higher, but Fran Garcia,
no, man. For me, I just could not understand that if our subs when we're seeking goals as Lucas Vasquez and Frank Garcia when we have Enrique and Arda Güler on the bench. Of course, yeah, I'm not saying they're world beaters, they're going to change the game. And I'm not saying that. But what
but
I'm
it's
saying
something
is that
different.
exactly, it's something different. Let's not forget what Rodrigo was to us in 2022, what Camavinga was for us in 2022. You know, they were something different. They were an element of spark. So it's that's just the thing. Like I think Carlo has also like regressed with this trust he has in these
Just
players as
like
well.
the
Like
second squad, yeah, that's right.
yeah, so I do think something has to give in the summer. Either we get some proper attacking reinforcement or nothing. Because other than Brian Diaz right now, there is literally no one to turn to it since, or nobody that Carlo trusts. So if these players are not able to come on when literally nothing is working, Jacob, absolutely nothing is working.
Midfield, attack, defense, the goalkeeper as well.
Nothing.
You can't
Yeah.
fault the goalkeeper.
Yeah, of course. Like I mean, Thibaut is. I mean, without Thibaut, we'll not even be having.
Bro, this was one of the top Tivo performances I've seen in the last couple of years.
Exactly. I think. I don't know. I can't remember since the final against Liverpool. Has it been something better than this?
No.
No, right?
This was the best Tivo performance in the last 2 years.
So this was a really, really good performance from Thibaut Courtois. It's crazy, man. I was just gonna say to you, like, would you rather have these players play this game, or would you rather have like Carlos starts his considering what is on at stake? Because like we're 4 points behind Barcelona in the league, right? So would you rather like have the full strength 11 against this Alaves team, knowing that okay, like we cannot afford to have any setbacks anymore, or would you rather like rotate with the hope of like getting something out of the game on Wednesday?
I mean, politically, Carlo has to say, yeah, we're still fighting for the league, yeah. But against this Barcelona side, dismotivated, and are we playing? We're playing them away, right? At Montugues.
Yeah, we're playing them. It's an away game, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's a chance that they win the league.
I think we're going to play them actually at the new Camp Nou. Actually, I think the Camp Nou should be ready at that. Yeah.
Great. So I realistically don't see any chances in the league. I don't think this team expected, to actually get back against Barcelona. Once they got back in the lead, once they had a game in hand, it was over, bro. At that point, it was over. They look with the way more consistent side. We look like the side way more likely to drop points. Clear as day. So I don't think realistically, I mean, politically, they still have to say, we're fighting for the league and everything. But in the dressing room, each and every single one of these players know it's not going to happen unless something crazy happens. And I don't think these players are going to, really find it easy to be motivated against Alaves. I think they might have a showing against Arsenal or not. I don't know which version of the team will show up, but I expect there'll be a lot of changes, man. And I don't think there'll be new tactics on play, that we can try against Arsenal. That's going to be nothing.
Actually, I kind of, I don't know, I kind of share a bit of your sentiment to some extent, but I do think that the game May 11th is going to be a very important game. If we win that game against Barcelona May 11th, I do definitely believe we're going to win the league. But as you said, right now, the way we are playing with our record against Barcelona in the past couple of seasons, it's not,
Oh,
it's
with
not
the last
looking
couple
that
of seasons,
much.
this season, man, like this season, they have a number. They have
Yeah, this
Carlos.
season we considered 9
Flick
goals
has
against them,
Carlos'
right?
number. That's it.
This season we've considered 9 in 2 games against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I do think, again, if I think everything depends on that game. So that's why for
I
now, for
agree.
me, I'm kind of like, you don't want to make too
We
much
haven't
of a
lost out. Yeah,
change.
realistically, like this team is capable of winning everything, right? Even at this point, at a lowest point, we can still win the treble. We have the players to do it. It's just a matter of motivation and a bit of
Exactly.
fine tuning by Carlo. That's all that's missing. But I don't know if they're gonna get there.
Exactly. And I do think, the game against Barcelona on the 29th, which is the Copa del Rey final, I think it's in Sevilla, could also be very important, because I think if we lose that game again, it's going to be 3 losses. I think the players are going to be deflated when it comes to Barcelona.
But if you lose that,
They're going to be absolutely deflated. So let's see. Like, honestly, it's really strange, man. Like, I mean, Arsenal now and then Barcelona, after just we play Arsenal on Wednesday, and then I think the week after that we play Barcelona in the final of the Copa del Rey, and then literally
bro,
around
exactly like
10 days.
Atletico season went, like in span of 1.5 weeks. Nothing. The season is over. Like we are in the same situation now. We shouldn't have been in this situation.
Well, let me say this, as I said in the group chat yesterday, I know it's impossible, but I still believe that we can.
I think,
I know
bro,
it's impossible.
like even Arsenal fans are slightly scared, like because this team can. It just matters if we can turn it on, like in the flick of a switch.
I think it's going to be difficult to turn it on. But one thing I think is that if we can manage to get 1 goal, Vini is going to wake up.
Yeah.
And I personally feel that, honestly, away from Mbappe and Rodrigo, I feel that if Vini is awake, we have a chance. Honestly. I don't know, maybe because, like, again, I always said, like, for me, I've always had, like, a personal sentiment towards Vinicius
Oh,
Jr.
it's not
because,
personal sentiment. We've seen this man do crazy things.
Exactly, So I just feel like if we can get 1 goal, even if Vini is sleeping, he's going to wake up.
Yeah.
Because Vini lives for moments like this. This is his bread and butter, literally.
Yep.
But we need to get that 1 goal. And then hope for the best.
And not concede. Yeah.
Thank you very much. This is why I keep bringing up the issue that we've conceded an average of 3 goals for the last 4 games. Fuck.
I mean, at some point, this team, the forwards have to think, like, what's the point of scoring, man? Like, anyways, we're going to concede. Like, what's the point? Yeah, let's just hope, like these guys can clear their heads, probably put in a decent performance against Alaves and, come out fighting against Arsenal, man. Like, we would love to see it. We as Madridistas live for moments like this. Let's hope it happens. But yeah, do you think, what's the status of the team? Who's going to play at Alaves and, who's going to play in Arsenal game? Kamavinga's out. Tchouaméni is going to be back. Is anyone out injured? Alaba is out injured, yeah?
I think Alba is not going to play that game. I think we don't know exactly what's going to happen with Ferland Mendy, but I think Fran Garcia starts this game. Because I don't know, because the point is, what is dead mean ever that you want to lock up Bukayo Saka? Why, when you're already out? I mean, there is nothing to defend.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing to defend. And kudos to Saka, he won the 2 free kicks that equate to 2 goals. And for me, I cannot fault that because
he dribbled the whole team to create those 2 goals.
Exactly, because the way you stop people like Saka is by kicking them. There is literally no other way. The way we see people stop Vinicius Jr. as well is by kicking him because there is no other way. So this is the reality of things. So I cannot fault the people who fouled him because, as you said, he literally dribbled past, I think, 4 or 5 players before the first foul. And similarly for the second foul, he literally breezed past Jude Bellingham. Camavinga crashed into him. So you have to find a way to stop this players, and that's the thing, But going back to what you're asking, I do think because Camavinga is already out for that game, so I think Camavinga automatically starts this game. We don't know the situation with Dani Ceballos anyways, so I do think he's not gonna feature into either of the games as well. But I do think we see Lucas Vazquez also start as a fullback against Alaves. Of course, Thibaut in goal, and I think we see again Rahul Asensio most likely. Alongside Rudiger, or maybe we might see a bit of a change with Tchouaméni alongside Rudiger, or Tchouaméni alongside Raul Asensio, maybe.
Yeah.
To kind of maybe.
I don't know, man. Like, I want to play. I want to see how this team performs in the midfield with Tchouaméni, and Valverde, and not with Valverde, like Bellingham. I don't know, like, do you think Lucas Vazquez starts again in Arsenal?
No, definitely. I think Fede already continues that role.
Okay.
I think the game against Arsenal is just the same, I think, lineup that actually started. So barring something miraculous where Carlo chooses to be
Yeah,
adventurous
except
and
for Camavinga,
plays
it's going to be Tchouaméni, yeah. That's
exactly,
in
and
same
unless
lineup.
if unless if Carlo Ancelotti decides to be super adventurous and play Brahim Diaz as a front four, where you have like then Chouameni and Bellingham holding down as a double pivot, more or less, and you add, I don't think it
Well,
happens.
that is a
I
FIFA
don't think it.
lineup, yeah.
Exactly. That's too adventurous. I think like when you add Brian Diaz into that, that's too adventurous, honestly. But I think it can see like it can be like a 4-4-2, like with Rodrigo on the on the right and sorry on the left, Brahim on the right,
Yeah,
with Vini and this up top. Could be it's a very adventurous lineup, but I don't think that will happen anyways.
I
As you
think it
said,
can work for like we need goals, and I think that is one way to get it. But yeah, I don't
yeah,
think.
I agree with
Yeah.
you, and I agree with you. Like it is what it is, but also like I think also one has to be very careful, with this kind of lineups as well. But I do think if you put Brahim Diaz and uh, Rodrigo on the wings, I think they can also cover up for the defenders as well. They can put in a shift,
Yeah.
for the defenders. And I do think when you have Tchouaméni and Jude Bellingham, so now the question will now become also the discipline of Jude will also be very important in this kind of
He
lineup.
can't, he
When
can't
it
go forward, yeah.
exactly, exactly,
He can't
that's
play
it. So
striker.
he
Yeah.
can exactly he can bombard as he used to. So discipline is going to be really
Oh, well,
important. But
yeah. So for the
I do
Alaves game,
think
we probably expect Hendrik, Arda in the midfield, Brahim on the
I
wing?
mean, for the Alaves game, we talked about the fullbacks, and we are expecting again to see Fran Garcia as well. As a left back. I think in the middle of the park we're gonna see like Kamavinga because he's out of that game, and I think we're gonna see like Luka Modric as well.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see Kamavinga, we're gonna see Luka Modric, we're gonna see who else could we see in that game. Of course, I think Jude is gonna play as well. Then I think up top, I wouldn't be surprised to see Brahim Diaz, Endrick, and Kylian Mbappe, or Brahim Diaz, Endrick, and uh, Vinicius Junior. I think Rodrigo gets benched, to get some
Yeah.
rest.
He have to,
And
yeah. He
I,
have to get
I
benched.
think two of the front three gets benched. So I'm actually looking. I think we'll see Brahim and Endrick with either of the front three.
Yeah, man. It's hard to say, like, who will get dropped. Maybe Vinny comes on as a sub. He's good at doing that. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly,
he get the drop.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because again, it's an away game, right? So I do think like well, maybe because like Kylian Mbappe is chasing the Golden Boot trophy, maybe he starts, and
Yeah.
Vini and Rodrigo will come off the bench later on, and also like
Yeah.
Arda supports them as time goes on. But I think for the game against Arsenal, of course, we expect to see Vinicius, Rodrigo, and what's it called, Kylian Mbappe. But I do think the midfield also is going to be like a midfield of Luka Modric, Tchouaméni, and Jude Bellingham. I do think the whole FIFA lineup that we were mentioning just before is not going to work. And I don't think like we're going to see Fede Valverde as a right back in that game, Fran Garcia as a left back. And I think it's going to be like Raul Asensio and Rudiger, barring something monumental happening. But then, yeah, I would want Fede to be rested for this game because, as I said, like I can't remember a time whereby I watched the game and I was like, bro, what the hell, Federico Valverde? What the hell?
Yeah.
That was the first time I watched it. So I kind of feel like, but then again, like everyone has been talking about the fact that this guy is exhausted. He's playing through an injury on
Oh,
his
like
foot or
you
something
remember,
like
like
that.
before the City game, Fede had this patch of really sketchy games, playing as partly as a right back, as a midfielder. He wasn't putting two passes together. He was looking really exhausted. That was before
Yeah, yeah,
taking those painkillers. Before
yeah,
his injury.
exactly. Yeah.
I think I was seeing a very similar game to what we've seen earlier on the season. I think he's still in pain. I think he absolutely needs rest.
I think so as well, man. So like that's the thing, like, could we see some sort of rests? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know honestly, but yeah, I guess we'll have to wait to see what happens in the game against Alaves. And even if he starts, the hope would not be that like we try to wrap up the game as early as possible so we can give him some rests.
Yeah.
So this will be the thing. Like if we go to Alaves, if these guys have any element of what's it called? Any element of what's it called? What's the word actually? I don't know what the word is, or like self-reflection or whatever. At least if they,
Right.
if they, if they feel a bit of remorse, They show up, in the first 45 minutes, bowl the hell out of Alaves, and just give way in the second half. We just give our starters against Arsenal a lot of rest. But one thing we've seen, at least for across the last 4 or 5 games, is that's just not happening.
Yeah.
I
It's the reason why Arda doesn't get any starts. It's the reason why Endrick doesn't get any minutes. It's been happening the whole season, and it's not going to improve. Yeah. Anyways, man, like I just hope we give out a decent result. It's going to be an away game. It's going to be hard. The crowd is going to be against us. But we are Real Madrid. Yeah.
It is what it is. Anyways, let's just read some comments and then we can call it a day, unless if you have anything else to talk about. All right, so we talked about Sinead was here, was saying big up the panel, and Ashik was saying Carlo will make sure we lose. Carlo has been great for us and go down one of our greatest managers, but he also has a habit of self-sabotaging, and we're paying for it again. The only thing left is giving a financially broke Barcelona a Pasillo. With Carlo this season, I can see that happening. Bro, giving Barcelona a guard of honor would be crazy, man. That would be fucking crazy, bro. And then he was saying, like,
this is allow that to happen. Like, these players, set of players, they need to know how it feels. Yeah.
Nah, I hope it doesn't happen, man, because we have 4 points. So even if everything keeps going the same way, at least in that game, we don't have to give them a guard of honor, at least. So he was saying, like, this is Real Madrid winning 15 or 150 times. It's in the past. It's about the now and the present, the winning culture. If we pursue Allegri, we might as well keep Carlo. We need a manager who is not afraid to take risks, but doesn't automatically mean Alonso is the answer. I think that's the important thing here. Like, it doesn't mean that Alonso is the only answer. There are many other answers. Coaches that are willing to take risks. But the problem, I think, why Alonso is the answer is that Alonso will get a leeway that a lot of coaches will not get at Real Madrid.
That's very true. Very true.
This is why I feel like Alonso is the only answer, unless you're going to go back to Zizou.
Who else is there? I mean, none of the Premier League
managers. No, they're coaches. There's Inzaghi, there's Iraola at Bournemouth. They're coaches that could be. Of course, Alonso also is in a job. They're coaches that could be. What I'm just saying is that even when you bring a coach like Iraola is Spanish, whatever, but when you bring him to Real Madrid, as we've seen in the past with Deportivo, Rafa Benitez, they will not be given that, that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You understand? So this is the thing. Maybe a coach like Inzaghi might be, might not be. We don't know. But then again, the point is that Inzaghi
I don't think so. It's like you said, the aura is very real for coaches like Xabi Alonso for the season.
Exactly. And so this is the thing. So I feel like I know that Alonso is not the only answer, but in my opinion, he is the answer. But yeah, it's gonna be so.
Then we have one option. We have to make it work.
Exactly. And Ashik was talking about like Carlo took the team as far as it could, but the problem is that if it's not Carlo, then whom? Yeah, of course, which is very true as we just mentioned now. And Sinead was here, as usual, defending Carlo. Is like Carlo, the board threw Carlo under the bus. He said, "If there is no philosophy, how do we win stuff? There is a philosophy." I mean, tell me what the philosophy is, Sinead. I want to see. I'm waiting. Tell me what is the philosophy.
Bro, the philosophy is like motivate the hell out of these players for these bigger games, because these guys are talented enough to actually win games by themselves. Each and every single one of these players. Like, just take the Arsenal game, man for man. I think if you pick a starting 11, we're gonna pick maybe 10 or 9 Real Madrid players,
True.
And we still lost 3-0. And that's how Carlo has operated. It has been a very successful formula for a team like Real Madrid. But when the motivation dries out, when the luck doesn't really fall our way, then we have no answers. But maybe other coaches do at this time.
That's true, but also he says that Farouk himself said the players let Carlo down to a large extent in North London. But this is now the thing, Jacob. If we're saying Carlo is motivating the players, so when the players are not motivated, then whose fault is it? So we can't come and be like, oh, when they win, oh, Carlo is a genius because he's able to motivate them. And when they lose, the players did not show up.
Yeah.
So this is just the thing. Like, I just feel like you cannot just keep going by the power of friendships. But anyways, Ashik was saying, the players did not let players did Carlo down, no doubt, but Carlo keep playing these players and never takes them off. It isn't working. Making 88 or 85th minute subs doesn't solve the issue if we're trailing. He was given an example. Vini is a great example. Vini hunger died once he realized he will never be benched. Mbappe doesn't get benched, even if he's not performing, before players fought for their place at Real Madrid. All this detail being too stubborn not to reinforce the problem areas. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Moon 2002 was saying we need to buy a midfield controller. Jude Kamafedi are not that type of controller midfield. Perfect. This is just it. This is it. This is absolutely it. The point here is that
the puzzle, yeah.
Exactly. And this is why I was saying to the Arsenal fans recently that Martin Odegaard, if we can get him, could be actually a final piece of the puzzle. I think he could be quite an interesting player to do this. And also, we've been linked to a player like Martin Zubimendi. I do not think Zubimendi is in my opinion, I don't think Zubimendi is a world-class player, but I haven't seen enough of him to make that comment.
But bro, like Ceballos looked like one of the best midfielders in the world for a while.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Just that profile of a player I'm missing.
Exactly. I agree. That's what I was going to add as well. That we saw with Dani Ceballos that if you have a different profile, you're playing in such a good team that you don't have to be the best in the business to actually be a really, really good, to make a really good impact on the team. So, well, I don't know, man. I think Zubimendi is bound for England with the British teams, Arsenal and Liverpool, knocking on the door. But will be interesting, honestly. That's the thing. Like, I mean, there are solutions made in the league. Why is Real Madrid not going for that? And like with the risk cost that Martin Zubimendi has, it's not too much. I think it's around 15 million euros, more or less. So I do think it's not too much of a money considering what you spend for Tchouaméni and what you spent for also an unproven Eduardo Camavinga. So I do think 50 for Zubimendi, who is a European Cup winner. So I do think it's not with Spain it's not too much. But also I do think we need to buy defenders. I absolutely do think we need to buy centre backs. Okay, yeah, we have been told that Trent Alexander-Arnold is a Real Madrid player, barring something miraculous happening from now until June. Like, we have been told this guy's a Real Madrid player. Cool, we accept that. But then we need centre backs. We absolutely need centre backs. Like,
and left back. Like, let's be real. Yeah. We need a left back as well. Like, we need so many players back in defense.
So this is the thing. Like, we need a lot of players back in defense. We need at least one centre back. We need one left back and one right back. Okay, we solved the right back issue. In my opinion, I think we need two centre backs. But then let's just assume we need one centre back. Let's just take one centre back and one left back. But for that left back to come, one of Mendy or Grant has to leave. And I don't think that happens.
Yep.
I don't think that happens. That's why I just think we get one centre back and one full back. But then I would honestly not be surprised if the season ended and the only player that joined Real Madrid was Trent Alexander-Arnold. I honestly would not be surprised.
It is what it is.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only transfer we made. And because all what we keep reading is about the fact that, they're monitoring the situation with Saliba at Arsenal. He has a contract that ends in 2027. If he doesn't sign a contract this summer, next summer they're going to try to get him for a, discount price, similar to what they had done for Courtois or for Camavinga as well. This is what we're hearing. Or even they might wait till the summer of 27 to get him for free, similar to what they have done with Trent Alexander-Arnold and
2027 is a long time.
27, that, especially when you consider the profile of the defenders we have. Alaba is 33 ACL. Militao is 26, 2 ACLs. Rudiger, I think, is 31. And then the only other option that's left is Rahul Asensio. Right? So this is the thing, like, we don't know what's and also let's not forget about.
You're right, we need to center backs.
We need to push something to happen. That's just the thing. We need to push for something to happen. There is no way that we're gonna have to wait for Saliba. No, I know, like, Real Madrid doesn't want to, based on what I heard, like they read, like Real Madrid doesn't want to break the bank for the what's he called, Dean Huyson. I don't know how his name is pronounced. The Spanish centre back at Bournemouth. Apparently, they don't want to pay 50 million for him. It's too much for a player of that.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he has a release clause of 50 million. We consider it like it's too high for a player who is unproven at this level. But then my point is that I don't think Huyson is that unproven at this level because he's played at Roma, he's played at Juventus, he's now playing for Spain, and he's playing for Bournemouth, he's chasing European competition, and also, I don't know, like, the market is inflated. I understand. I agree that some players are not worth certain amounts, but this is just the reality of the market. What do you do then?
You have to play the market fund. But yeah, man, like, this is an endless conversation. Do we have any more comments? I think we should probably end this.
No, exactly. Yeah, we've gone too, ranted for too long. Yeah, I think. Yeah, let's just give some predictions, Jacob, for the Alaves game, since eventually it's a preview of Alaves, right?
What's the point? And okay, I predict a 1-1. That's what I predict. I
Nah,
think
man, I'd be more optimistic than you are, man. I think I go for the Real Madrid 3 out of this one. I think we win this game.
yeah,
The 3
I
1.
want to see that happen. Really want to see that. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay, then I think with that, I think we can slowly round things up, and we can give shout out to our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid Committee, and also like don't forget to support the channel through the links below from Manscaped, Fanatics, and the Talksport Network. You can find all the links in the description below. And with that, we sign out by saying, "Hala Madrid."
Hello, Madrid.